Trevor Milton has been sentenced to 4 years in prison.
Billionaire tycoon who promised to revolutionize the trucking industry with electric vehicles now indicted for fraud.
They're found guilty of defrauding investors for his $3.3 billion company with technology that didn't exist.
There's an open secret in the startup world. Fake it till you make it. You pitch an idea that's not real yet, make promises, get funding, and then work hard to make it real. But what happens when the promise is too big to fulfill? Nikola Motors, a company founded by Trevor Milton, is just that. They envisioned a revolutionary hydrogen technology for semi-trucks that produce zero emissions. Nothing but clean, pure power. The buzz around this was huge. Everyone, even big names like Bosch and General Motors, were eager to join the revolution. They poured money into Trevor's company, would then later be valued at $34 billion. But the thing is, none of that was real. Trevor had made nothing but a very, very big promise. Today, we'll dive into the story of Trevor Milton and how he built a billion-dollar empire and how it crumbled, becoming one of the biggest startup frauds in history. Let's go back to 2016 when the Nikola truck made its debut. Here's Trevor Milton, a 35-year-old driven entrepreneur, proudly presenting his most significant achievement, the Nikola One. The truck was zero emissions, could travel 1,000 miles without stopping, needed just a 15-minute break to refuel, and it could carry 80,000 pounds. You see, it checked all the boxes. And Trevor Milton, with his charismatic energy and confident vision, seems like he's just about to change the world.
See the truck, know it's real, touch it, feel how sturdy it is. You're going to see that this is a real truck. This is not a pusher.
And the world ate that up. In January 2017, right after the big reveal, the company successfully raised funds in its Series A round. Over the following months, they signed partnerships with major players like Bosch and many fuel cell and hydrogen companies. The product, the company, it all seemed almost too perfect. And you know what they say, if something seems too good to be true, well, it probably is. Over time, the hype around Nikola One faded and skepticism rose. People started questioning the capabilities of the Nikola One. Trevor Milton, a natural at selling ideas, had a trick up his sleeve. In January 2008, he released a cool video named Nikola One in Motion. It portrayed the truck speeding along effortlessly on a level road, and the result? A big buzz started all over again. The video got 230,000 views on Facebook really fast. Everyone was excited about the upcoming pre-production units, which, by the way, never actually came out. Even the Arizona governor, Doug Ducey, was impressed, and Nikola managed to strike a deal to establish a manufacturing facility in Arizona.
What Trevor Milton and Nikola are doing can transform trucking, can transform technology and automation in transportation.
By September 2019, Trevor Milton owned 40% of Nikola, and at 37, he was already a billionaire. But he was aiming for something even bigger, to take Nikola public and to hit the stock market. He was ready to do whatever it took to make it happen.
We are the only off-grid headquarters that we know of, completely off of hydrogen, battery, and solar. We have 3.5 megawatts of solar up on the roof, producing about 18 megawatts of energy a day in our headquarters, and we're storing 10,000 kilograms of hydrogen and using fuel cells as energy backup and batteries as energy sources as well. Our company is truly one of the most innovative companies in the world.
In November of 2019, Nikola is making noise about his Nikola battery prototype cell. Trevor's blowing up Twitter, saying it's way cheaper than lithium-ion and can power a Tesla Model 3 for over 600 miles. He even said that he'd seen it work with his own eyes and promised to show everyone soon with a big demo. But here's the twist. After the big announcement, it was discovered that the technology was vaporware, basically non-existent. The company behind it, Zapco, was run by Charles Resnick, a guy who had recently scammed NASA. If anyone at Nikola had just Googled Charles Resnick, they would have seen it all. It was right there on the internet. But honestly, Trevor didn't seem too bothered by all that. Even after the scandal, he kept talking up the battery tech on Twitter as if nothing happened. And it seems the investors still bought into the whole game-changing battery tech story. Then, with just a big dream, a reveal show, a video of their truck cruising down the road, and a supposedly revolutionary battery tech from a scam company, Nikola Motors went public on June 4th, 2020. Thanks to Trevor's bold claims and marketing prowess, investors who hadn't seen a Nikola truck on the road jumped in with their cash. believing that they were getting in on the ground floor of the next Tesla. Overnight, Trevor became a multi-billionaire and minor social media celebrity. A host of news articles came out comparing him to Elon Musk. And Nikola Motors? Its value went through the roof, surpassing Ford's in just about a week after going public, reaching over $30 billion. Just think about it. Ford, a giant with a 100-year legacy, sold millions of vehicles and raked in huge revenue, was valued at around $28 billion. And then there's Nikola, without a single cell, already hit $30 billion. Crazy, right? On September 8th, 2020, Nikola Motors revealed a $2 billion partnership with General Motors to develop the Nikola Badger, a pickup truck powered by both electric and hydrogen fuel cells. But again, nobody's actually seen one yet. As I said before, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Just 2 days after their big partnership announcement, a major shock hit the startup world. On September 10th, the short selling from Hindenburg Research released a damning report, calling Nikola Motors an intricate fraud. And just like any good movie, the firm said it had gathered extensive evidence including recorded phone calls, text messages, private emails, and behind-the-scenes photographs detailing dozens of false statements by Trevor Milton. Remember the Nikola 1 from that big 2016 reveal? The one Trevor Milton kept saying, "This is not a pusher"? Turns out it was exactly that, a pusher. Hindenburg Research talked to someone who actually worked there and revealed it was all a big lie. The revolutionary compressed natural gas technology was nowhere to be found, despite the chemical formula for hydrogen, H2, proudly displayed on the truck's side. And the groundbreaking, fully functioning Nikola 1? It was merely a shell that didn't drive itself. All important components, the body, the E-axles, the turbine, and the natural gas fueling system had not arrived yet. The factory was not even set up for production. Workers were running to the hardware store to pick up basic parts. And the impressive Nikola 1 in motion video, the one Trevor Milton used to silence the world's doubts, was also just smoke and mirrors. A former employee, in conversation with Nikola's chief engineer Kevin Link, revealed that the video was just a trick. They towed the truck up the hill and they let it roll down. The technology they'd been discussing for years turned out to be non-existent. In an interview, Trevor made a bold statement about Nikola, claiming they were producing hydrogen for under $3 a kilogram, which he said was 81% cheaper than the rest of the world. This, according to him, was a significant breakthrough. However, later in an interview, Trevor acknowledged that Nikola produces no hydrogen at all. So all these bold claims he made before, they were entirely fictional. But really, once you find out who's in charge of developing their so-called hydrogen tech, you have to give Nikola a break. It's almost too funny to be true.
We've assembled one of the best teams in the world.
Nikola's director of hydrogen production and infrastructure is none other than Trevor Milton's brother, who, before joining Nikola, was paving driveways in Hawaii. And Nikola's head of infrastructure development, in charge of leading development at Nikola's 700-plus hydrogen station network, is the former CEO and general manager of a golf club in Idaho. Summing it up, Nathan Anderson, the founder of Hindenburg Research, put it bluntly in an email statement. Nikola has almost no intellectual property, products, or revenue to fall back on. We think the company's key asset was its founder's ability to raise money through hype and outright lies. This story is outraged, isn't it? Imagine standing in front of a huge crowd, speaking with unwavering confidence and passion about something you know for sure doesn't exist yet managing to persuade giant corporations to pour billions of dollars into your idea. Trevor surely had a knack for captivating people and raising money. If you look at his career, there's a pattern. Big ideas, hyped pinches, and then seemingly a crash into disputes and litigation. He started with a security alarm company, overpromised its potential, then sold it for $300,000, leaving the buyer with losses. He's even been accused of cheating his business partner out of $50,000 during that deal. In 2009, he shifted to online car sales and then leaped into vehicle power plants without relevant training. His company, D-Hybrid, aimed to convert diesel engines to run on natural gas. A good idea that was poorly executed. He got Swift Transportation to invest $2 million for a trial run of 10 trucks, and later for 800 trucks. But in the end, just 5 trucks were delivered, and they had major engine problems that failed to meet claims. He also spent part of the investment on personal expenses. To escape legal problems, Trevor and his father built D-hybrid systems, similar to the name D-hybrid, but legally different, leaving the original partners empty-handed. And the latest, Nikola Motors. He turned into a billionaire, heading a company once worth $34 billion. But covering things up wasn't so easy anymore. Hindenburg Research's bombshell report. Trevor Milton knew his time was up. He publicly promised a full rebuttal to all the damaging claims, but then deleted his social media accounts and disappeared. Nikola's stock value plummeted after that day. On September 21st, Trevor stepped down from chairman role, and Stephen Gursky, the former vice chairman of GM, took his place. Nikola's stock plummeted by 40%, and deals with potential partners began to falter. Then, just 1 week after Trevor's departure, 2 police reports are filed against Trevor for sexual assault against 2 women. And one of these reports was Trevor abusing his own underage 15-year-old cousin. In July of 2021, a United States federal grand jury charged Nikola founder Trevor Milton with 3 counts of criminal fraud for lying about nearly all aspects of the business. In June 2022, Milton was charged with an additional wire fraud charge. In October of 2022, after a day of deliberation, the jury found Milton guilty on 1 account of securities fraud and 2 accounts of wire fraud. Finally, on December 18, 2023, Trevor Milton was sentenced to 4 years in prison.
Based on the 1 count of securities fraud and 2 counts of wire fraud, of which he was found guilty in October 2022.
While this 4-year sentence might seem light compared to other high-profile fraud cases like Theranos, still, it's significant. After the whole Theranos and Nikola Motors drama, it's pretty clear. The fake-it-till-you-make-it culture in startups needs to stop. Damian Williams, U.S. Attorney for Southern District of New York, said Trevor Milton lied to investors again and again on social media, on television, on podcasts, and in print. But today's sentence should be a warning to startup founders and corporate executives everywhere. Fake-it-till-you-make-it is not an excuse for fraud. And if you mislead your investors, you will pay a stiff price. For anyone thinking about jumping into the startup pool, this is a wake-up call. Just pitching a cool idea and crossing your fingers isn't going to cut it. You've got to roll up your sleeves and actually start building whatever you're promising. Otherwise, you might end up promising the moon and delivering a moon-shaped balloon. And trust me, that's not going to fly. And that's the wild, twisting story of Nikola Motors. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back soon with another episode. Cheers, everyone, and take care.